Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about what are the pros and cons of buying a home when compared to renting. So the pros of buying a home are going to be the cons of of renting, and then whereas the cons of buying home are going to be the pros of renting. Okay, so you hopefully you get the gist. Okay. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Ami. I am a nurse practitioner. On this channel, I make videos about nursing. I talk about mental health. I make videos about lifestyle in general. I also talk about my journey to financial freedom. Majority of that has to do with paying off my student loans. If these are things that you're interested in, please make sure you subscribe and join the family. So we recently bought our home and we rented for years. So I figure I talked about from a personal perspective, what are some things that I feel as though are beneficial when it comes to buying a home? What are the cons of buying a home? And that way you can decide if renting may be good for you at this time, or maybe, yep, it is time for me to buy a home. So what are some of the pros of buying a home? Majority of that has to do with the freedom and space. So that would be a pro for buying your own home. Okay, so for us, we have two kids and we lived in an apartment complex for years. And one of the major things that we always struggled about when we lived in an apartment complex was just the freedom. So a lot of the times, constantly yelling at my kids, don't run, don't jump up and down, pretty much don't be kids, okay? And most of the time when it comes to renting is that if you go rent an if you go rent in an apartment, it's hard for you to be in the lower complexes or the basement. So because a lot of those places go really fast. So for us, we either renting in the middle or on the third floor. So and you are gonna be on top of other people, and the houses are so hollowed that every little noise that you make, you can hear. People can hear you, or you can hear other people and the kids. So we ended up having, I think we had like maybe one warning or two warnings that we're gonna get kicked out or something. We had a verbal and a written. So I guess, yeah, that's two. We had two. So it was one of those things where you're just like constantly on the edge, feeling like, okay, when's the next time someone's gonna complain that my kid is making too much noise? And they're just kids being kids. So a major pro for buying our home is just the freedom. My kid's able to run around, and it's crazy because up till now it's still ingrained in me where I want to tell my kids to sit down and not run around, and I forget that, okay, now we have our own home, that they can do that. And also just having the freedom, you can cook whenever you want to. So for example, or wash your dishes whenever you want to. And it's crazy because a lot of the apartment complexes, you can hear everything when someone's washing dishes, when they're watching a movie. It's a whole lot of stress when it comes to that. So majority of it is freedom. Another thing is, I think this might be little for some people, and you can definitely survive this, because we rented for years, because at the time we didn't feel as it was the right time to buy a home. So was parking. Okay, so depending on where you live. And so for North Dakota, a lot of the apartment complexes, they're nice enough to build you a little space, a garage where you can park, but it's always so far away from your actual door, especially when you live on the third floor, that it's a hassle when you do grocery shopping, when you have kids going up and down the stairs and things like that. It is really, really hard. And sometimes maybe you work overnight or nighttime, you're coming home, you're having to park so far away because people already take up all of the parking space. And you're having to walk for a long distance just to be able to park somewhere and get home. So that was very, very difficult when we have kids, and especially grocery shopping. Oh my God, guys, it's like every time you think about every time we thought about going grocery shopping, it's just like, oh, here we go again. Because it takes forever. You're out of breath, taking water up and down the stairs, and just everything in general. Whereas when you have your own home, most houses, the garages are built within your home, so that way there's a door, you park, you go into your garage, you park, and then you get into your house, and groceries is so easy. So that was a plus for me, a pro. And another thing also when it comes to buying your own home, and this is big for me, it's just having a legacy for yourself and also for your kids. So when you purchase a home, you're building what they call equity. So an example of that would be, let's say when you make your monthly mortgage, part of that monthly mortgage have to do with you paying for principal and interest. For example, if let's say about $1,000 goes towards your principal and interest, and within your principal and interest, your principal is the amount that you owe, the amount that you pay down every month on the money that you borrow to pay for the home from the bank. That's what most people use. So let's say with $1,000, about 300 of that or 400 of that goes towards the interest, because of course you got to pay the people that borrowed you money, okay? And depending on how long the mortgage is, if it's a 30-year mortgage, maybe you're paying more than half of it is going towards interest. If it's a 15-year mortgage, you build up equity faster because most of the money is going towards the principal and paying down the loan. Okay, so that money that you use to pay down the loan is what they call equity. So you're building up equity. And what you can do later on, if you decide to sell your home, depending on the housing market, you're actually able to use that money to use it towards something else. If you decide, okay, I'm just gonna not sell my house, I'm gonna work on paying off my house, that's a big plus, because now you have a place to live where you don't have to worry about someone taking your home. And that's something that you can pass down to your kids to have something to start off with when they get older. So that's a big thing for me when it comes to purchasing our home. Okay, so what are some of the cons of buying a home? So with freedom comes more money, okay? Freedom is not cheap, guys. So for example, when it comes to payment wise, so most of the time when you ended up moving from renting to buying a home, you're gonna have to pay more money, okay? So that's all that is. Freedom is not cheap. So that's one major thing, is your expenses are gonna go up most of the time. There are some people where they ended up paying, their mortgage is gonna end up being the same as what they were paying for rent. Those cases are sometimes a little bit on the lower side, just because, again, when you're buying a home, most of the time your expenses are going to go up. For some people, it goes up significantly. Some people, not as much. Okay, that was a major thing. Another thing when it comes to expenses is utilities, guys. When we moved, our utilities, we went from paying $50 a month for utilities on our apartment complex for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom to paying almost $500 on utilities for our home. Okay, and I did create a video on how to save on your utilities because it was a rude awakening and I had to learn real quick how to go about minimizing those utilities. Okay, so that's another con when it comes to expenses wise. Another con for buying your own home is maintenance. So that one is huge, guys. So for example, when maintaining your lawn, if your HVAC system goes out, it's like tag your it. There's no landlord to call and say, come fix this. And a lot of those things, especially your HVAC system, they may cost anywhere from like $6,000, $5,000, $4,000. So that's a lot of money, guys. And for some people that are barely making it, or not necessarily even paycheck to paycheck, but it's a little bit harder to save, that's a lot of money if that thing goes out on you. And especially where we're at in the wintertime, it gets cold and you cannot live without heat, okay? So that's a major thing. Another major expense is also your roof. Some people, for the most part, what I've learned when we're going through our home buying process is the fact that some roof, it can go all the way up to 20 years, depending on the quality of the roof. And that one, when it goes out, some people said you may spend anywhere up to $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000, again, depending on their situation. That's a lot of money, guys. So those are the major things. It's just repairs and maintenance for us. And what we're doing is just making sure that we put money on side every single month and use it as like part of our budget. So that way we're saving up little by little. So if something goes down, it may not be able to cover the full expenses of whatever is it that break, but at least we have something to work with where we can go back and say, hey, this is what we're doing. And right now, it's crazy because we're literally putting like $100, $150 every month. And that money adds up pretty fast, to be honest with you. So that's something that you can do to kind of offset these things. So I hope this video was helpful and you're able to kind of figure out pros and cons and see if renting is best for you, or if you are in a spot where you're able to buy a home. Comment down below if you are using any different tips, or you have any other pros and cons that about buying a home when compared to renting, or if right now you're in the process of buying a home, or whatever way that you feel about the two, okay? So we can learn from each other. That's pretty much it for this video. Until next time, guys, take care and be kind to one another, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.